I'll try a quick map.
So, you want to get to 264 and then you want to not miss 60B. I'm going to be obnoxious about that.
You'll see the signs. Bluegrass Parkway turns into exit 60B. Don't forget, 60B. 60B!
There is no 60B. 60B is a lie. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm your cruise director Kristen and this is the Towne Mall in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. We may not have Kirsten Dunst and Orlando Bloom, but today we're going to talk about the real characters in the real town as we walk around the mall. This video was shot last August and I was on a marathon filming trip where I shot a total of 6 malls in 2 days, and this one I got to a tad earlier than I expected, so I wanted to first off state that this mall wasn't open yet. This was about 9:30 in the morning while the mall walkers were still the ones in charge. I went here once before, I think in late 2019 or early 2020, and at the time it seemed too busy to bother with trying to film. However, you can see that maybe 30 to 40% of the spaces in here are empty. We're down in Anchor, and it was time to take another look. Towne Mall was announced in 1984 and was developed by the David Hawker firm, which is based in Owensboro, Kentucky. They're one of the most prolific developers in Kentucky for sure. I personally have covered, I think, 5 malls in the state that they've had a hand in, and they've developed a total of 54 properties nationwide. Elizabethtown is about halfway between Louisville, you see what I did there, and Bowling Green, and is home to a lot of people who work at nearby Fort Knox. There's a big dead zone for cell phones on the way out of town because of the fort. The mall opened on October 16, 1985, right on schedule for the announced opening date. It originally planned to have a 3-phase approach with the current 350,000 square foot layout as the first phase, and they plan to add 2 more department store anchors along with a convenience wing featuring a supermarket. The anchors at opening were JCPenney and 2 regional chains, Dow Harris and Ben Snyder, both based in Louisville. The first change to the anchor lineup happened in 1987, when Ben Snyder, or as it was known at the time simply Snyders, was sold to Johnstown, PA's Hess's, who were in turn owned by competing mall developer Crown American. Hess's lasted in this region until 1992, when they sold 18 locations to Profits, later becoming Belk in 2005. Towne Mall is geographically located in an area where there was little competition at the time and was successful enough to cannibalize another competing development not far away, Radcliff Mall. Radcliff Mall was never even really a mall, it was just a freestanding Sears, and they planned to build the mall onto it eventually, but they never did. The former Sears at Radcliff Mall was purchased earlier this year by a local business owner who plans to make it into a sort of tourism stop, which is a pretty good idea when you consider that Mammoth Cave National Park is only a stone's throw away. Sears opened at Towne Mall in 1990 along with a new 100,000 square foot wing. That section is now blocked off, and I couldn't find any news stories about what they plan to do with it. Maybe nothing. Sears remodeled their store in 1999, and it closed in early fall 2018. What can I say? Sears is gonna Sears until they finally decide to give up the ghost. And it's time, guys. This has been the longest going out of business sale in history. In 2008, Dowahair's went under as a chain and they were replaced, from what I can tell, about 2 years later by Burke's Outlet, which is like a Ross or a Burlington coat factory. I came across 2 different stories while researching this mall that were by far the most interesting and compelling, and they weren't about developers or hostile takeovers or embezzlement. They were just about the people who came and went from the mall over the years, characters in the story. And we'll begin with the bad one first. In 2001, 2 people were apprehended by mall security for shoplifting, and they pulled a knife on the guard and fled. This resulted in a 110-mile-per-hour high-speed chase on I-65, and when the vehicle finally stopped, the female passenger of the pair, Jeannie Richardson, reached below her seat instead of putting her hands up and was shot in the stomach by police, and they saw that she was again brandishing a knife. She was promptly taken to the hospital before being charged or detained, and while recovering from a bullet to the gut, she ripped out her IVs and fled the hospital, calling her mom to say she wasn't spending Christmas in the slammer. She ended up spending Christmas in jail after all. And now for something more uplifting. In our Discord server, which if you're not a member of, you should be, we're a good group and there is no better place to nerd out about this stuff than with us. Link is in the description. Tell them I sent you. We've often lamented that there's almost always one person at every mall who is the de facto mayor, who knows everything going on in the mall, and it's not the manager or security, it's a longtime employee or a regular visitor. Not every mall mayor has proof of their title, but Hayward Edwards was the official mayor of Towne Mall, a title bestowed on him by the custodian, who saw him walking there every morning for over 20 years. He even had his own bench. The Danville Advocate Messenger ran a profile on him in 2005, and it was just the most wholesome thing ever. A veteran, he never married or had kids, and going to the mall to walk and socialize with the 75 or so mall walkers was his way of being able to get out of the house and get some exercise. They described his sneakers as being well worn by the estimated 17,000 miles he logged over the years doing laps around the mall. Other walkers would ask him for news about who was hired, who was fired, what stores were coming or going. Everyone who spent time in the mall knew Mayor Edwards, and he could often be seen sitting by the fountain chatting with anyone who would listen. Maybe he's still walking around there to this day. I hope so. Every mall needs a mayor. Overall, this is a great mall that seems to have a great sense of community, and I'd love to see it continue to succeed, because even though there are some vacancies, they're doing their best, just like the rest of us. So if you're in the area, stop by and walk around. Thank you for watching. We've got another bite-sized mall off the beaten path from this same trip coming up next time, and for anything else, you'll just need to subscribe and come along for the ride. As always, I'm your cruise director, Kristen, and this is UniComm Productions. We'll see you at the next stop on this never-ending road trip.